slightest doubt that in any court of law this 44AC would be struck down, both as being unreasonable as a restriction on the right to carry on business and as not providing for equal treatment in the eye of the law. Because you pick out these people, and of my own personal knowledge I can say that nobody picking up cotton waste in a textile mill has ever been known to make 60% profit, taxable profit, not gross profit, net taxable profit. I have not heard of any case in my 45 years of experience. But you make that man liable under this artificial section. But even worse, and I come to the last part, the breach of faith. I find it unforgivable. I can understand a dealer in second-hand cars trying to pull a fast one on you. But I can't understand the government of so highly civilized a country as India trying to commit breach of faith. And I say it with reason. Let me give you two concrete examples. Take the Wealth Tax Act. In the Wealth Tax Act, it is provided that if you invest in IDBI bonds, I hope IDBI will take it up. If you invest in IDBI bonds, the capital gains that you have made, then you do not pay any capital gains tax. It is fully exempt. And these IDBI bonds are to be free from wealth tax. This is an express stipulation. IDBI has been publicizing, advertising widely. Invest your capital gains in IDBI bonds free from wealth tax. So people invested. I myself gave advice to a number of clients, strongly urging them to invest in IDBI bonds. Now comes in the budget a new provision which says, effect of it is, that your exemption will only be up to 5 lakhs of rupees. Now how can you change the law virtually retrospectively? People on the faith of the government's representation. Because the law originally said unlimited exemption from wealth tax. Now the law says limited exemption. But this is breach of faith. And Parliament's attention is not drawn to it. There is not a word, perhaps the finance minister does not even know it. I would take any bet that the finance minister does not know that this is a proposal in the finance bill. I have not the slightest doubt he doesn't know. It would need hours and days of scrutiny of the budget to find out these things. No finance minister has the time. He doesn't have as many minutes as are necessary in the terms of numbers of days to find out these points. But this breach of faith is sought to be committed without Parliament even knowing that such a proposal is put before them. Let me give you another example. Take say the Income Tax Act. So far as the Income Tax Act is concerned, the Prime Minister last year introduced a scheme called Section 80CCA, under which you put your savings with, say, a bank, and 50% of the savings will be exempt from tax, and when you withdraw the money, the option is yours. Both the half of the capital sum and half of the interest, I am talking just now only of the interest, half of the interest, say, would be exempt from tax. So you will pay tax only on half the interest that you get. So professional men, industrialists put their money in this national saving scheme floated by the Prime Minister only in the last budget. Now comes a provision which says that the interest will not be entitled to any exemption at all. But what about the people who put their money last year? On the faith of your law, we said that the interest would be exempt from tax. Is it not breach of faith? If a businessman did this kind of thing, I would call him thoroughly dishonest. And I don't see any reason why a different adjective should be applied if the doer of the thing is the government of a country. It's the same dishonesty. I must confess this, that I have known of my own experience individuals in India who have far greater and higher standards of honor, of integrity than the government has. I'm sorry to say, but there it is. How do you account? Why do people accept this? You know, in the year 1986, they abolished development rebate. The law required that development rebate shall not be abolished except by 3 years' notice, because businessmen must have a time to adjust their work. I went to the Middle East to make some speeches asking Indians to invest in India. They put to me this question. They said, how can we trust your government? We started our industrial enterprises on the basis of the development rebate, which they told us would not be abolished except by 3 years' notice. We had made all arrangements to see that the machinery and plant come here within 3 years, and now you have abolished it without any notice. I had no answer. I was ashamed as an Indian that such things should happen in our country. I'm not speaking behind anyone's back. I said this very thing in the presence of Mr. V.P. Singh, who was the finance minister. And I said, Mr. V.P. Singh is a man of integrity and honor. And I'm sure he will never tolerate this kind of thing. Maybe his attention was not drawn to this kind of legal provision. I remember making the speech here 2 years ago mentioning this very point, and I mentioned it in Delhi in his presence. Nothing happened. The minister accepted that the bill should be passed. The civil servants who were there, members of the central board, saw nothing wrong in this breach of faith. In short, I am beginning to think, is it that we are becoming somnolent, if not dead, so far as ethical values are concerned? Are our ethical values so low that we make no distinction between good faith and bad faith, between honor and dishonor, between integrity and lack of integrity? If the government will not show integrity, how do they expect the citizens to show integrity? How do they expect the citizens to pay their taxes honestly if the government, after passing a law, giving a certain exemption, will not honor its own law? I feel most distressed, and I wish one day the conscience of the people can be aroused, who would tell the government we will not stand for this kind of breach of faith. And I would suggest that it is the duty of a minister to tell Parliament before the bill is put to vote. Please note that what the Prime Minister did last year is sought to be changed now, and it will affect people who have already acted on the face of the law introduced by the Prime Minister. Let the Parliament be told about this, not just pass it in 2 minutes and 5 minutes as the Direct Taxes Amendment Act was passed. Ladies and gentlemen, I have said enough. Let me just end with one sentence. I've been carefully considering the Direct Tax Laws Amendment Act and now this bill. And I've reached a conclusion that the attitude of the authority seems to be this, that on everyone's income and wealth, the state has the first claim. It is entitled to take as much or as little as it pleases, because really the property, the wealth belongs to the state. And if you are allowed to have in your possession or allowed to keep the after-tax income, it is only a gift from the state to undeserving and ungrateful citizens. So long as this attitude persists, I am afraid this country will not have a bright future. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, since Nani has spoken, and as I said, it is the people who can change. And if you have heard him, and if you have understood, which perhaps people in Delhi don't, I could only say one thing, that to just make Nani a little more free, that the government of India of late has realized that they are spending a lot of money, and the first step they have taken, Nani, is not to send Christmas and New Year cards. So there is some kind of a reaction, but I would also say, ladies and gentlemen, that when Nani was talking about borrowed money, this one thought came to my mind, and that is, when a man is suffering from cancer, you always say that he is living on borrowed time. If this nation keeps on borrowing, perhaps this nation will be on borrowed time. So I would suggest that each one of you start becoming vocal, express your opinion, and don't wait only for next year what Nani has to say, but only take action immediately. Because it's people who Nani has spoken from heart. When I was listening to him, I said perhaps a stage will come when if the people of this country will rise and say that if the government is not going to honor its own word, we will not honor our obligation of paying taxes to this country. This is the kind of a spirit we must do, and I think it's the time. I am not here again as an arouser. I am only saying that we are very thankful to Nani, Mr. Hochin Advani, Mr. M.R. Pai, Divakara and everybody and all of you. I would only say one thing, ladies and gentlemen, that we are willing to run for the country, but we are willing to run for the nation, but let nation not be always on a run, because I think this is a distinction which we have to do, and I would appreciate all of you applying your mind and realizing that after all the country will respect what people have to say, and people are those who listen to Nani. With this, all the very best, and I'm sure something worthwhile will come out, because this is a nation of spirit, this is a nation of ability, and this is a nation which believes in democracy. And as long as we have all those three, this nation has a tremendous future. Thank you.